The first time Leela heard the boy scream, the sound wasn't a sound at all, just a sharp, breathless gasp that sliced through the marble hallway like a warning. She froze at the doorframe of the penthouse playroom, mop still dripping. Inside, 7-year-old Adrian Sinclair stood trembling, fists tight, eyes darting like a cornered animal. His father, the billionaire mogul Henry Sinclair, stood helplessly behind him, exhausted and dressed in a suit that probably cost more than Leela's yearly wages. "He won't listen," he muttered. "He never listens." But Leela knew better. Adrian couldn't listen. He was deaf. And yet, that wasn't the real problem. There had been nannies, 8 of them in 4 months each, one armed with degrees, flashcards, sign language books, and behavior management training. All had left, defeated. None could reach him. Lila felt Henry's eyes land on her. The maid who was simply supposed to clean the floors, stay invisible, and collect her paycheck. "Leave it," he said. "He's having another episode." But something about the boy's panic twisted inside her chest. Maybe it was the way he pressed his palms over his ears as if trying to block out a world that was already silent. Maybe it was because she remembered too well what it felt like to be trapped in a noise only you could hear. She stepped into the room. Henry opened his mouth to stop her but froze when Adrian looked up. The boy's eyes locked onto Leela's hands. She hadn't even realized she'd started signing an instinct born from years of communicating with her younger cousin back home in Georgia. She wasn't certified. She wasn't properly trained, but she knew enough. Adrian's breathing slowed. Henry blinked. "You know sign?" "Some," Lila whispered. "Let me try." She lowered herself to Adrian's height, hands moving gently. "Are you hurt? Safe? What happened?" Adrian stared. Then, in a slow, trembling motion, he pointed to the stuffed astronaut on the ground and tapped his own chest. Fear, loneliness, frustration. His tiny fingers tried to form the signs, clumsy and jagged, like someone trying to speak after years of silence. Leela understood enough, more than anyone had, and for the first time in a long time, Adrian's tears didn't fall in confusion, they fell in recognition. That night changed everything. Henry asked Leela to become Adrian's nanny temporarily, just until we find someone qualified. She agreed reluctantly, afraid of hope, afraid of failing. But from the first morning, Adrian clung to her shadow like the world finally had a translator. He began to laugh silently but brightly. He began to sign more. Then suddenly, with fluency that stunned even Leela, he let her guide him into routines, games, and messy art projects that left the pristine penthouse looking deliciously ruined. Henry watched every moment like a man seeing color for the first time. One evening, he found Leela and Adrian on the balcony, the sunset casting gold over the skyline as they signed stories with their hands. Dragons, mountains, secret tunnels, a world only they knew. Adrian's face glowed. Henry swallowed hard. "I've hired experts for years," he said quietly, "spent fortunes, and somehow, you're the only one who's ever truly reached him." Leela shrugged with a soft smile. "Sometimes people don't need expertise, they need to be seen." Henry nodded, but his eyes said something deeper, something like gratitude wrapped in awe. The real twist came weeks later. Adrian had a meltdown at school. Chaotic, overwhelming. Teachers tried everything. Nothing worked. Henry raced to the school in a panic, but when he arrived, he didn't see Leela calming the boy. He saw Adrian calming another child, a little girl crying in a corner. With tiny, gentle motions, he signed to her the same words Leela had once signed to him. "Safe here, I understand." Leela felt her breath catch. Henry's voice cracked. "He's helping her." Adrian turned toward them with a shy, triumphant smile done in that moment. Lila realized something unexpected. She hadn't just taught him to communicate. She had taught him to connect. And now, he was offering that gift to someone else. As Henry wrapped an arm around his son, Adrian reached for Lila's hand with the other, pulling them both close, like he wanted the world to know exactly who had made this moment possible. And standing there in that quiet hall were no words, no sound, just the echo of kindness. Lila finally understood. Sometimes the greatest miracles weren't loud. Sometimes they were silent, small, and unbelievably powerful.